That's it right there. I'm going to freeze it because they're pretty wiggly and there's a lot going on. But I want you to use a keen eye and a critical eye to see if you can spot the congenital defect. Okay, did you catch it? Okay. Hello shepherds, welcome back. And if you're new here, hello. This is where we talk all things sheepy. So I've experienced this once before. When I was younger, I bought the best I could afford from a registered breeder prominent in our area. Back then, though, I didn't know what was going on, and it's really easy to miss. And so back then, after 3 vet visits and almost having my young kid then almost lose her eyesight, which was all preventable, by the way. It wasn't until I convinced my mom's dog's vet to let me bring the kid into their office, and then he fixed her eye, and today I'm going to walk you through how to spot it, fix it quickly and easily, preventing some long-term heartache. Okay, so starting off, notice how the eye area looks a little puffy. He's only a few minutes old, so it could be birth swelling, but it's unusual. It's important to maintain a flexible mindset when working with lambs and sheep. They always seem to find a way to make the impossible possible. Sometimes during the lambing process, the lambs can get straw or dirt in their eyes. He's blinking a bit here, so that's concerning for me and something to keep an eye on. And because I'm really pressed for time and sheep love to lamb when you're about to walk out the door to an appointment or to something pressing, I'm going to have to work quickly here and get going. So there was a bit of a plug on Lammy's teat, so with a quick squeeze, we got that colostrum flowing and got him onto nursing. The temps are below freezing at the moment and it's snowing, so the faster these lambs get to nursing, the warmer they'll be, and I have to head out. I'm back now after picking up the youngest, and I'm checking in on the lambs. I've moved them to a containment area. It's windy, it's snowy, the lambs are learning who their mom is. Plus, I have a light installed, so they're popping and eating well. But our next clue to what's going on is there's a stream of tears down one eye. His eyes still look puffy, and we have some straw bedding, so splinters are a possibility at this point. So let's go ahead and investigate the eye. I'm trying to do my best to film as closely as possible so that you can get a good view of what to expect for yourself. So I hope this really helps you guys out. Sometimes it helps to have an eye wash with you, but the tears here aren't doing their job. So very gently, we're going to go and grab our lamb and investigate the eye. The lamb may squirm or wiggle, but it's important to handle the lamb or find a professional who will do it for you. I'm very gently pulling the eyelids back, looking around to see if there's any debris caught up in there. As I'm gently flipping the eyelid back, I felt a small pop. When you do this, you may not feel a pop, but the main thing I'm doing is rolling the eyelid, making sure that when I let go, the eyelid doesn't curl back or curl under. Sometimes a flipped eyelid, inverted eyelid, an inward roll eyelid, they're all words for what's called Entropion. It's a very painful genetic condition where either the top lid, bottom eyelid, or both eyelids curl inwards, and the eyelashes scrape against the eye surface. It causes a lot of tearing, and if not treated in time, can scratch the eye, causing an ulcer and even blindness. It's often misdiagnosed as conjunctivitis as well. Okay, so lambs I like to think of come out of the womb kind of half-baked. A little pliable still, so when we intervene before they're set, it fixes the problem pretty quickly and without any complications. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe his tears away from his eye. I have a feeling that that pop sensation was the eyelid uncurling. So I'm going to monitor him to see if his tearing continues. If he's still weeping when I check back on him later, then I know there's a bigger problem going on. And I need to come back with my glasses as well, just in case I missed a micro splinter. But overall, his eyelids seem to be staying in place, so he should be good. But let's go ahead and continue to monitor him. In the meantime, I've set up a time-lapse camera to monitor the lambs, and let's talk about a worser case scenario. When I had picked up the baby goat, or kid as they're known, she, I think, if I recall correctly, was less than 24 hours old. Her eye was tearing up a lot, so I named her Goopy. But over time, the eye got worse. I did call the breeder and tried to find out what was going on, but to no avail. I ended up taking her to a specialty vet clinic with experience in livestock and exotics. And by this point, she was probably about 1 week old. I noticed there was a bump on her eye, and the vet diagnosed her with conjunctivitis and prescribed some medicine to treat it. Another vet came in to verify the diagnosis and confirmed it was conjunctivitis from across the room, though. I was pretty upset at the appointment, but followed doctor's orders. Even so, her eye continued to worsen. So then I decided to call around just for someone or anyone willing to see a goat and fix her eye. It's really difficult sometimes, but eventually I went to a vet that had treated my mom's dog and convinced him through many tears and complaining about how the other vets refused to even touch her because she was too wiggly. He finally caved after much convincing, and he examined her eye and found out that her bottom eyelid was rolled. And not only that, she had a splinter in her eye. So he grabbed a swab that was treated with some antibiotics, I think, and wiped her eye, the eyeball itself, and the splinter came out immediately. It was pretty neat to watch. With the eyelid, it kept on rolling back when he was working with it. My memory is a little hazy on how many appointments it took, but eventually he did put a single stitch in her eyelid to hold it in place. He did tell me that the medicine I was giving her for her conjunctivitis actually was making the injury worse. But luckily he saw her when he did and managed to save her eye, and she recuperated fully. He did tell me if I ever encounter a rolled eyelid again, to just flip it, and if it doesn't flip, give it a good pinch. And this will cause some inflammation in the eyelid, and will keep the eyelid from rolling back, and it will correct itself over time. So I kept his advice to heart, and with our little lamb, it's been about 24 hours, and his eye looks right as rain. I didn't have to pinch it, I just ended up fooling with it, and that was it for a simple fix. Sometimes it can be complicated, and finding a vet can be difficult. But if we work fast and diligently, we can prevent these larger issues from popping up later on. Entropion is a congenital condition, so he was born with his eyelid rolled. And so if he kept his privilege puffs, he can pass them on. But with Lammy, I have a policy to weather all of our rams since they all go to freezer camp, so it's not a concern for me. But each person has their own path to walk and their own needs. And raising your own freezer camp crew has its own challenges, especially if you feel deeply. So this was a pretty simple fix. Catching it early makes it simpler. I expect him to continue to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So to sum up the paths on how to treat and everything that we did here, we flip or roll the eyelid. If it's refusing to roll, with your thumb and forefinger, gently pinch the eyelid to cause swelling. If you end up missing it and catching it much later on and there's some cloudiness or ulceration of the eye that involves an antibiotic treatment and possibly a stitch or a mechanical pinch, that may be more of a vet visit for some folks. And I'll add this data to Lammy's record for this year's birthday nuts. Okay, so if you made it this far, an extra special thank you. I appreciate you. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon so you never miss a sheepy take. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Ta-tas.